Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. And today I am the load featured designer, and I decided to film my process. It's not really something that's required to be done if you are signing up to do the load featured designer of the day kind of a spot, but I decided to go ahead and film it anyway. And in the prompt that we used, we had to scrapbook about something we do with someone we love, and then also, or use your handwriting on the page somehow. And so I decided to use my handwriting as the title, and I am documenting scrapbooking with my mom because that is something that I do with someone that I love. And so this is me just playing around with doing some lettering with a paintbrush and some watercolor. The top one is watercolor, and this bottom one is some, I don't know if it's creamies or whatever from Shimmers, but it's one of the Shimmers products, and it wasn't the right color, so I decided to go with the top one. And I actually did it like 4 times trying to get the lettering right. The double O's were a little bit difficult for me. I do some hand lettering, but it's typically on my iPad with an Apple Pencil, and the pressure of the pencil determines how wide the letter is. So it's a little bit different of a feel if you're doing it on watercolor paper with a paintbrush. So that's why it took me several times to kind of get it to where I was a bit happy with it. It's not perfect, but it's great. It looks good, so I'm going to go with that one. And then I have this paper from Bloom Street, and I thought it was perfect. It's got all these little butterflies on it, and it matches the color in my mom's shirt. And then she has one of the Heidi Swapp teal desk cover things, silicone desk covers. And so it has both those colors in it, and then the lettering also matches her shirt perfectly. So I kind of played with this idea of this L design for the paper, but it's not going to end up that way. I struggled a lot with this for some reason, and I'm not sure what caused all of the struggle, but I just could not make a decision on how I liked it, and I don't end up going with the L. I end up going with some layers down at the bottom, and I really do like how it comes out. Those little notebook pieces that you see in the background there, those are cut with a die from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It's part of her journal series, and I purchased this set because it had these tropical leaves in it, and that was really what I was after. And then this was just kind of like a bonus piece, so I decided to use those as my layers behind the photo. The photo is printed on my selfie, so it's a little bit smaller than a 4x6. And I did back it with the white cardstock, so it does have a nice mat behind it. And you can see I'm just going to kind of like audition a whole bunch of papers. Normally, well, not normally, but sometimes I would cut out this part of the process. But I decided to just leave it in so you could see that the struggle is real. And not just for, people who don't scrapbook often. I scrapbook quite a bit, and it's still on occasion I just struggle. So that was the problem here. So I decided I wanted to use some of that yellow, and I pulled that out. That is from LE Studio, and it's really old paper because I haven't bought anything from them in a long time, and at least not any paper. And so I wanted that yellow piece in there to bring out the yellow in the piece from Bloom Street, because some of those butterflies are yellow. And I decided I was going to rough up all my edges, and you can see there that's not a perfectly straight cut across. It is cut with my scissors, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that it's not straight. It kind of has that look of being torn, even though it's not torn, but because it's roughed up with the distressing tool, it kind of has that look to it. And so I'm kind of liking how this looks, and I decided I want to do a little bit of mixed media on that top piece. Pulled out the stencil from Paige Evans. Oh, actually, that's probably not Paige Evans. It's probably Simple Stories. They both have heart stencils that are very similar, and I have both of them, but I believe this is the Simple Stories one. And I pulled out some glitter glaze stuff. It's not called glitter glaze. but it is from Nuvo, and it is their glitter paste. And so I put those hearts down, and I think that's what I'm going to use, but in the end I don't end up using it. I just didn't like how it looked. I am not somebody who uses plain cardstock very often, and it looks very foreign to me, I guess. I don't know. And I wasn't really happy with how the glitter came out and looked with all of the other patterns, or maybe it was the colors. The yellow on top of that turquoise kind of had a kind of weird hue to it once it was dry. So I just wasn't crazy about it. But I am really liking the bottom half of the layout. So here I go, auditioning more paper for that top piece. And I go back and forth. I like the idea of this. It's not ombre, but well, I guess maybe it is ombre, but it's a watercolor effect on the paper. And so that is the one I'm going to end up with. And I just use the blues and purples at the top, kind of pulling in those same colors from the bottom. And I really like how that looks. And that makes me completely happy. So that is the one that I stick with. And I am inking up all my edges in a periwinkle color. I really like how that looks. It's bringing in more of that same color that I used for the title. I have popped that title up onto some foam tape, and I'm just going to use my Nuvo glue to adhere that down. And for me, I find that the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive works really well. It dries fairly quickly, and it holds very well. So I had these little labels in one of my color bins, and I pulled those out. They do have like an indentation in the corners, and so I just used that hole punch to kind of round those corners on an inset rather than using a corner rounder to round it, the outside of it. So it just makes a little divot in it. And then I'm trying to put this card in there. I had to, because I used the Nuvo glue to stick down the word scrapbooking, I had to kind of cut out where the K, the ascender of the K is, so that that card would fit down and look like it was just popping up right there. And that's where my journaling is going to go. So I really like how that looks. Adding a little bit more ink to this back piece. I think I had forgotten that piece. I did the purple piece, but not the white piece. And then I'm going to add these two labels in here, and I like how that looks because I'm bringing some yellow up into the top where there is already yellow in that card down on the to the right of the photo, and then it also has that band of yellow heart paper there. So I felt like it needed to have some of the yellow brought up to the top. Now I'm pulling out these letter stickers, and these are the little tile stickers, and those are made with a stamp and die set from Paper Tray Ink, and they're very cost effective. I really love how they come out, and I'm just pulling out the word with, and my title is Scrapbooking with Mom, and I used the yellow for Mom just to bring more of that yellow in, and the letters are actually done in purple. It's a white tile with purple. They also make a set where you stamp the background color and the letters end up being white, which is my actual favorite set to use. But in this particular case, I just went with the white tile with the purple lettering. And I'm going to ink up this card, and I'm just, that little ink pad is a VersaFine ink pad that I've had for ages. I don't even know the name of the actual color, but it is kind of periwinkle looking. You'll have to excuse my throat clearing. I'm feeling a little congested this morning, so I apologize for that. And then I am going to add some journaling talking about the time that we usually spend scrapbooking together. We normally go to a retreat every year in January, and while I am scrapbooking this, it is like right around the time frame that we would normally be at the retreat, and so I'm kind of talking about how we're missing that time together. We still get the opportunity to scrapbook together occasionally because she does live next door, so we do see each other, but it's not the same as 5 days without any responsibility, not having to cook for anybody, not having to clean anything. We just scrapbook, and food is made for us and we just enjoy the time together. And we're there with like 20 other people that are really good friends of ours that we have scrapbooked with throughout many years of going on this retreat. So it is a special time together. So I have this die cut set or ephemera set from Paige Evans. It's one of the Bloom Street sets, and it is that floral set. So I'm pulling in the flowers, and then I have a bunch of butterflies you can see in the top right hand side there that I have fussy cut from the same paper that I'm using at the very bottom. So I'm going to add the florals and those butterflies to this layout. And I didn't make you sit through watching me fussy cut butterflies. That's something that is kind of like watching paint dry. It would be pretty boring. And you get to see enough fussy cutting in other layouts that I didn't feel like you needed to really sit and watch that. It was a little bit time consuming, but it's definitely worth it, and I really like how it comes out. And I didn't worry about cutting out like the little antenna. I just cut out the wings, and I'm going to ink those up and scatter those about. And some of these flowers are popped up onto some foam. The ends of the leaves are popped up onto some foam just to give some added dimension. Whereas the leaves where they're tucked in are flat to the paper, so it kind of gives it a little bit of a, like it's flowering or something like that. I did also stitch all the way around this layout, and I really like how that looks. The piece at the top is going to be up at the top, and then I'm just going to trim the edge of that off so that it's not overhanging in the album, and I like how that looks. And the little butterflies, I am popping I'm popping their wings up on foam and adhering the center of the body down so it gives added dimension. And then when it's in the album, they don't really get squashed because there is foam underneath their wings. And I feel like the Nuvo glue really does a good job because you just have to kind of hold it there for a quick couple of seconds while the adhesive firms up enough to hold the body down to the page. And it doesn't take very long at all. It's not like you have to sit there waiting for the whole thing to dry. It just takes a couple seconds. I say that and then I'm just sitting there forever with my finger on that one, it seems like. And then I have this really thin foam tape. It's double-sided and super sticky. And I just got that from a friend of mine. She had a huge roll of it and she cut off a big chunk of it for me. And so I use that when I want like maybe half the amount of dimension that the regular fun foam provides. So it's thinner, but it's super sticky, and it has adhesive on both sides of it, so it takes a little bit of time to peel the adhesive off because it's really thin, like plastic that you peel off of it. So that takes me a few seconds, but it's definitely worth it. I really do like how this layout ends up at the very end, even throughout all of the struggle of that background paper. The background paper that I chose, I think really just makes the whole layout come together. So if you've never done Load before, that is Layout a Day, and it's something that the Scrap Happy group offers. In February, I believe it is open to anybody to participate in. It is also offered, I believe, in May and in October. I know the October one is only for members. I'm not sure about May. I don't know if that's open to the general public or not. I would have to look into that. But February is definitely open to the general public. And there's a theme that is for each month or each load challenge. And there are prompts, story prompts, and technique prompts. So again, the story prompt was to scrapbook about something you love doing with someone that you love. Scrapbook something you love doing with someone that you love. and then the technique prompt was to use your handwriting on your layout. And definitely I hand wrote my journaling, and that probably would have sufficed, but I thought it would be fun to actually use my handwriting as part of the title, and I've only done that a few times in the past, so I thought that was kind of fun. I'm adding some sequins, and that's pretty much going to do it for this layout. The close-ups are coming up in just a few moments, so stay tuned for those. And I thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. And if you don't mind subscribing, I would really appreciate that too. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye now.